Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I am Cody from Mr. 4am Builds, and this is episode 2 of our outfeed table. We're gonna go over paint, we're gonna go over the sides, we're gonna go over the top, and how we finish it all. Let's get into it. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the panels that go on the side and on the bottom. So as I've said in previous videos, I like to use relevant numbers. So now that I have this all mocked up, I can easily pull these numbers and get exactly what they are, but we can't install them yet because remember, we still have to put it in the back room. With those numbers set, now I'm going to bring that plywood downstairs. Get one of these if you don't have one. After I finish cutting all my panels, I like to go through and I like to write down what size they are. And then on the second set of panels, I like to take a different color marker and write it on there as well. The two different color markers just help me keep it organized. This is the piece for the bottom, and it's not going to be as simple as just setting it in there because it does have to go around the legs. But I have a pretty good little way that we can make a little template, and we can put it on the corners and it'll fit right in. Come on over and I'll show you. So to get this inside angle here, where there is a few different spots, it may seem tricky, but that's all we're gonna do is we're just gonna take a piece of 1/8 inch plywood and we're gonna set it in there and we're gonna cut a couple little pieces and then we're just gonna CA glue them together and make a little template. So I got a little spacer that's cut on this side, so that when it sets in right here, this piece can slide right on top of it, just like that. Now we know that those corners here and here are square. We'll pull a line. Now that I know that these two pieces are even, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this piece and put it right here. So we'll just put a little glue on it. Now we got this inside corner nice and tight. So the only corner we have to get is right here. And I'm gonna do the same thing with another chunk. Now I know that I got this and it lines up perfectly in there. It should do the same around all the corners. I can just take it over to the piece of plywood, put it on the corners, trace around it, and notch it out with a jigsaw. Looks like the stealth bomber, doesn't it? Now once we set it on here, we're going to trace the inside. So the waist part that's not on here, that's the part that we're gonna trace. With this little jig, this part's just flying along. Anybody? Little dad joke, anybody? I am cutting these slightly oversized on the outside of the line because I just want to make sure it fits. With the framework for the structure fully complete now, the only thing left to cut is the top. So I'm gonna do all that and then we're gonna clean the whole shop up and then we're gonna get ready to finish the base, which includes paint. Ew. But we have to. Let's do it. So I'm all set up here to cut the top, and what we're gonna use for that is a 1/2-inch sheet of MDF, and I'm gonna cut 2 pieces and I'm gonna glue them all together. So then it'll be 1 inch total, which I think is very sturdy, and that should work out just fine. I am cutting it slightly oversized, and then once it's glued together, I can trim it all up because, fun fact, MDF actually comes in 1 inch wider and longer.
That's what she said.
So that's gonna work out perfect for us. As I said before, once those are all glued up, we'll just be able to put the Trexel right on the edge, square everything up, it's gonna be perfect. With the top being MDF, it's gonna absorb hella glue. So I got the full gallon jug out, I got this piece of cardboard I'm gonna smear it around with, then we're just gonna lay that top down on it, we're gonna set a bunch of heavy stuff on it and let it sit overnight. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I'm gonna let this set up here for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go back and throw a second coat on just to touch up any spots and let it kind of soak in. I would like to put some on that piece as well, but I think it would just be a disaster with it coming down, or if I tried to do it over here, I just don't think I can get it back on there. It's already starting to leak a little bit, but it's okay on the paper. Gonna throw a couple clamps on here and set everything heavy on it. Let it sit overnight. I think that should be pretty good. Now, that's all there is left to do. Just wait it out. It's the following day, and I'm pretty happy with the glue up on this. I did throw a straight edge on it, and as you can see, it does have a little gap in the center of it, but that's fine, I can live with that. And also on the one side, some of the glue must have seeped through because the paper actually stuck to the MDF, but I guess there's gotta be a bottom to everything, so I'm not worried about that. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take my track saw, I'm gonna set the track right here on the edge, and I'm gonna cut it, and then I will use a square and coincide and go all the way around, just following it using the previous side that I cut as the reference, so I know everything will be nice and square. Okay, real quick, before we get to the cutting, I was cutting 1/2-inch material before, and now we're gonna cut 1-inch material. Look how easy it is. That's all you do is you pull this in, you drag it down, and you let it go. That's how easy it is to adjust this. That's Festool. Okay, rant over. Since I now know that this edge is straight, that's all I have to do is put my track down to this side, and then I can just put my square right on here, square this up. Since we know this edge is straight, now we know that these will make a 90-degree angle, and we can do the same thing all the way around. With the cutting all done, I think it's time we throw a tape corner to corner and see how we did. 62 3/16. .62 3/16. Not too bad for a basement carpenter. That dreaded time of the project has come when you realize you have to paint it. So I'm gonna disassemble this, and what we're gonna paint is every outside facing thing. I'll paint the outside of this and the outside of this. Even though these are gonna be covered with the side panels, I still kind of want them to be painted so when you take it off, it looks nice, but anything inside, including the floor, will not be painted. So all these pieces are now gonna get primed and painted. And I gotta tape them all off, but that is very boring and you don't wanna see it. So, because of movie magic, everything is painted. Now I did go through and I put on 2 coats of Kilns primer, and then I put on 2 coats of the Benjamin Moore paint that I used. I'll put the graphic up on the screen of what paint number that is. And now I have this all mocked up, and that's key because we're gonna go over here to the top. I got the top set up here and it's all cut out nice. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this over on the piece, and then I'm gonna find out where, because I wanna put a couple dog holes in there just so I have a little bit of clamping ability. This is very heavy, by the way. Oh, jeez. Now my reveal is going to be a little bit different on all the sides just because that's the way it's got to fit in, and I actually might even cut the corner of this off so I have more room to walk by, but that's why I wanted to get it all mocked up, and we'll figure out those details. Over my shoulder, I have the top clamped down, and I am going to use a spoil board underneath it. And what I'm going to do to drill the holes is I'm just going to use a 3/4 inch Forstner bit and go straight through. I would like to use the portable drill press, but it sits on the edge and it's a little too wonky. So I'm just going to put it in the drill it as straight as I can. It'll be good enough for a basement carpenter. Well, that's not good. The reason it's not fitting is because I used a 3/4 inch hole, and I used that on my miter saw wings, and that board's only 3/4 of an inch, but this board is an inch, so it doesn't have enough room to bend. I think I'm just gonna flip it over, and I'm going to use a chamfer bit, a little bit more of an angle on the underside, and hopefully that works. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with the results. After I put the round over on the top and the chamfer on the bottom, I feel the clamp goes in there and it moves around very good. I also did clip that corner on a 45 with the track saw just so I have more room to walk around it. It was a little dusty. I probably should have had a dust mask. Probably should have had a dust mask on, but I guess we're still here for now. So I'm going to use a shellac on this top. On the actual workbench, I used the polyacrylic, and I'm just gonna try shellac on this one. See how it turns out. I'm gonna let that dry for about an hour or so. I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna hit it lightly with 220 sandpaper and put another coat on. So I have went through and I've rolled on 3 coats of shellac, and I've very lightly sanded it in between every coat. And after this last coat, I just went and used a piece of 400 grit sandpaper and just rubbed it across, and it is actually very, very smooth to the touch. So now I'm just going to spritz a little water on it to clean it up. And in case you're wondering, I did put some shellac in those holes, but this is a family show. Before we end this video, I think we need to mock this thing up fully so I know that everything fits. And we can't screw it all together yet because I still got to take it apart and put it in the back room. And as we all know, pocket holes, you don't want to take them in and out too many times. As I put this last piece in, I don't have that one screwed in. It's just kind of sitting there just to give us for the looks. And that will sit flush once we screw it all in. I think this is a good stopping point for episode 2 of our Outfeed table. In the next video, we're gonna do all the dust collection that goes on the inside, which I think you'll be pretty excited about. So make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Hope you learned something. Hope you're inspired, or at least were entertained. In the meantime, get out there, buy cool tools, build cool stuff, and tell your friends about it. See ya. I'm not used to an audience. So